The laughter in the cafe died the moment Sarah said it. Honestly, Emma, I don't know how you live with him after what he did. Her tone was casual, like she was talking about a bad haircut, but her eyes were sharp, waiting. The other women froze mid-sip, mugs hovering in the air. A single drop of latte slid down the side of mine, landing on my trembling fingers. I wanted to say something. Anything. But the words wouldn't come. Because I didn't know which truth to defend anymore. It started 3 months earlier. A Thursday. The night he came home late again, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine. I noticed, of course. You always notice. The scent clings to their shirt collar like a whisper. He said he'd been working with a client, a woman from accounting who needed help closing the quarter. I laughed it off, pretending to believe him. I didn't want to sound paranoid. Because love, when you've built your life around it, makes you allergic to evidence. A week later, a bruise bloomed on my wrist, a dull blue mark shaped like the curl of his hand. It wasn't what it looked like. I'd tripped on the stairs while carrying laundry. He'd tried to catch me. That's what I told my friends. That's what he told me. And I believed it, even as the truth knocked on the edges of my consciousness like a persistent guest I refused to let in. One night, I couldn't sleep. I got up, padded to the kitchen, and found him there, shirt unbuttoned, staring into the dark. "Tom," I whispered. He startled. "Go back to bed." His voice was cold. Unfamiliar. That was the first time I realized there were two versions of him, the one who smiled at me in public and the one who lived behind that smile, pacing like a caged animal. When the whispers began, my co-workers asking if I was okay, Sarah sending late-night texts saying you can tell me if something's wrong, I laughed them off. We were fine. We were just tired. Every marriage goes through rough patches. Except ours wasn't a patch anymore. It was an unraveling. Then, one evening, I came home early from work. His car was in the driveway, engine still warm. I walked in quietly, the way you do when you don't want to discover something but can't stop yourself from looking. There was a woman in my kitchen. Her back was to me, but I saw her reflection in the glass cabinet. Dark hair, red dress, lipstick smudged like a secret. She was laughing. And Tom. Tom was leaning against the counter, his hand grazing her arm. "Tom." The laughter died. The woman froze. He turned, eyes wide, not with guilt, but irritation. "What are you doing home?" It wasn't the question of an innocent man. It was the panic of someone whose lies had run out of breath. She left without saying a word. I remember the sound of her heels on the tile, the sharp echo of betrayal. Tom reached for me. "It's not what it looks like." That line, the one every cheater rehearses, spilled from his mouth like it had muscle memory. My throat burned. "Then what is it, Tom?" He exhaled, pinched the bridge of his nose. She needed someone to talk to. She's been going through. Don't." My voice cracked. "Don't insult me with that." And then, silence. Thick, suffocating silence. He grabbed my arm, hard. "Emma, stop twisting this. Let go." But he didn't. Not right away. His grip tightened, his face twisted, and for a moment I saw something raw, something violent, in his eyes. When he finally released me, I stumbled back. My wrist throbbed where he'd held it. I told no one. Not my sister. Not my friends. Not even Sarah, who'd always been the first to sense when I was breaking. Because I didn't want them to hate him. I didn't want them to see what I was starting to see. I told myself he didn't mean it. That it was stress, exhaustion, the affair ending. That people made mistakes. But late at night, I'd replay that moment, his hand clamped on my wrist, his voice spitting venom, and realize that something inside me had already cracked beyond repair. 2 months later, when the story got out, that someone saw him with her again, that a neighbor heard shouting one night, I became the silent center of a scandal. And that's how I ended up at that cafe, surrounded by friends who thought they were helping. "Men like that never change," Sarah said. "I always had a bad feeling about him," added Claire. "They were dissecting my marriage like it was a crime scene, and I sat there, hands folded, pulse steady, pretending their words didn't pierce me. Because what could I say? That they were wrong about the bruises, but right about the betrayal. That I wasn't the victim they thought I was, but I wasn't innocent either. The truth, the one I've never said aloud, is this. After that night in the kitchen, after he begged for forgiveness, I didn't leave. I couldn't. I wanted him to hurt the way I did. So I found my own distraction. A man from work. Kind eyes, gentle voice, the sort of attention that felt like sunlight after years of living in shadow. It started as conversation. It ended in confession. And the day Tom found the messages, I saw that same look in his eyes again. Hurt, disbelief, rage, but this time it was mixed with heartbreak. We were mirror images of each other's sin. So when my friends called him a monster, a wife-beater, I sat silent. Because I knew he wasn't a monster. He was just broken. Like me. We'd both destroyed something sacred and then stood staring at the wreckage, blaming the other for the fire. That night, when I went home, he was waiting. I heard what they're saying, he said softly. That I hurt you. I hesitated. You did. Not the way they think. I nodded. Tears gathered, silent and heavy. He looked at me for a long time, then whispered, "You didn't defend me." I didn't know if I should. He exhaled, turned away. Maybe that's our answer. He left the next morning. No fight. No grand goodbye. Just a note on the counter. We both know it's over. Maybe it was a long time ago. I stood there for hours, staring at it, realizing that silence, mine, his, had always been the real betrayal. Because sometimes love doesn't end with shouting. It ends with nothing left to say.